God bless her, because we're here, season 2 on the couch. Okay?
We're here, season 2, Red Couch.
Who you talking to?
We're talking to the Scales.
We are.
The Scaleses.
That's my favorite. She's so awesome.
Keith and Deanna Scales.
Keith, how you doing?
Keith, I'm good. That didn't sound real. I'm good.
Good. We're just talking to you, bud. You know, just want you to be warm. You know, just want you to be just as free as you want to be.
And inviting.
Open.
Not nervous at all. We're just
Not
here,
nervous at all.
We're just chatting.
It's just us.
We're just chatting.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just us.
Listen.
best.
So listen, we brought you guys here. Why do you do this? Why do you do this to me?
Go.
Completely intro. Go. I'm not introing.
Go.
Not introing.
Go.
So we brought you guys here. We wanted to talk to you guys about waiting, right? And not in the traditional sense of waiting for sex and all those things, but waiting to marry. And you guys have a story related to that. You guys took
Yes.
Keith.
Yes.
Okay.
You were
Y'all
there.
didn't wait?
You were there.
Y'all didn't wait. It didn't take.
You were
You're-
definitely
listen,
there.
don't be fooled by Keith's debonair look here.
Debonair?
You know what I'm saying? He's not no spring chicken.
He's
but
not
my
no
man-
He ain't no spring
My
chicken.
man look good.
He does look good.
This is just bro to bro. You look good,
I'm
Keith.
trying, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying.
You know what I'm saying?
Low stress
That's what I'm
diet,
trying.
low stress
Low
diet.
stress diet. So waiting to be married and waiting for the one, right, is something that that you guys have a unique experience with, and just wanted to talk about that. I'm gonna hold you right there. I hear the beads. Just a heads up on that. Cool. Here we go. And take it away. Tell me. Yeah. Talk to me about that.
We've known each other for years, or at least known of each other. But our story is kind of funny because people have been chattering around us about each other for a long time. And one of our pastors, actually at the time, had come to me and said, hey, I have this guy that I'm thinking about for you. I'm not going to tell you his name because I want to talk to him first. And so she went and talked to him, and he wasn't ready. Like, he just wasn't in a place where he wanted to be in a relationship. And so she never got back to me. Like,
Shouts
never
out
closed
for
the loop.
honesty. Shouts out for
Exactly.
I was
honesty.
going through some things.
Amen.
Yeah,
Listen.
and right. I'm glad I didn't have to be
100%.
dealing with that. But
Right.
but then I moved to New York, and so
this was that long ago.
Yes, and then when I came, while I was gone, he came around and got healthy, I guess, or whatever,
No, that's real.
whatever
That's
was
real.
going on
Yeah.
in your heart.
That was real. No, it was all that. It was all that.
No shade.
Right.
But and then went back to her, and she was like, "Oh, she gone. It's too late now."
Oh, you
Wait,
went back?
never.
I was curious. I was like, I think I know who you're talking about, but just in case, who are you talking about? Who are you
And they were
referring
like,
to?
nah,
she never
Yeah,
said
you know, and
anything.
You
then
missed
I
it,
knew
bruh.
who she was talking about, so she was there at that point.
So yeah, I was gone for a year and a half, came back, and then people started talking again. And at that point, it was several people talking to me. Hey, have you thought about Keith? I mean, I don't know. I don't really know him that well. And then people coming to him and saying the same thing. And then I think finally
Somebody said
I wasn't
something.
about to approach him, but
Right.
for him, I guess it clicked.
I was just like, I'm tired of folks saying, I'm gonna see what's going on.
Let me see what this is about.
Right.
Put my toe in the water and see what's up.
Yes.
And Keith, okay, so how old are you, Keith?
We're
Come on, how old are you, Keith?
48.
48. My man looked like he's 35.
He does.
So that we're clear.
Yeah.
So, and I asked that question because, to the context of waiting,
Right.
you guys have been married for how long?
A year.
A year, right?
A year
So,
and a couple days.
so a year and a couple days, right? So the idea of you held out, right?
Right.
Even to the point of someone, your pastor coming to you saying, "I have
Right.
someone for you," which a lot of people kind of hold in esteem, as we should, but would move on that,
Right.
and not have the courage to say,
I'm
"Hey,
not
I appreciate
ready."
that, but I'm not ready."
That's so
Right.
big.
Like that's a grown man move,
Yep.
right? It's a big boy, big pants move to say I'm not ready, and then to be on the other side of reaping the benefits of the honesty is a really wonderful thing. But while you're in the honesty stage, it may not feel so awesome. So
Right.
like, is there a word that you would have for people who are in the waiting season?
Well, I don't know. Well, yes to that, but also what just dawned on me is, are you purposely waiting or are you just single? Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I feel like waiting for the one is a conscious effort versus I ain't with nobody.
Okay, fair.
Right.
What were you guys? Would you say you fall in either of those camps?
Wait.
Waiting
hold
or just
on.
single.
Waiting or just single?
Yeah, I
Or a
would
bit of
say
both.
I'm
Maybe. I mean,
waiting.
I'm sure that changes. I don't.
No, well, and I'm sure you'll cut a lot of this out, but I mean, I just want to make sure I answer the question totally, honestly, and fully.
Absolutely.
Both totally and fully is the same. But stop it. No, ask the question again, so there won't be so much again.
So I'm asking, in terms of the waiting or single, like that space, someone who is intentionally waiting, or someone who is just not with anyone.
Right.
Do you identify with either of those camps?
At that time, I guess I would say I was waiting.
Yeah.
Prior to Hope's House, I was single.
Right.
And totally cool with it.
Right.
But until
Yeah, so I'd imagine that changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so in that space, and what about you?
I was single. And like, that was not my plan. I tried God on every turn.
Right.
I tried other people.
Right.
Every chance I could get.
Right.
But I was just single. I was not intentionally waiting. But I was trying not to make foolish mistakes.
Right.
100%. And so what is that, being now on this end of it, is there, to your younger self or to that self, like what do you look back and say to that person?
For me, I love a good plan. I'm a planner. I have my days mapped out. I have our money mapped out. That's just who I am.
Right.
And so I had a plan for my life that involved getting married when I was 24. I don't know where I pulled that number from. Maybe because my mom was married when she was 20.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, I'll be, a little safe. 24 is safer. So I think I would tell that younger person, like, chill out on your plan, because you don't control hardly anything.
Right.
And two, that's definitely not something that you can control. And you don't want to make a mistake just trying to hit mark or goal.
Right. And
like
that's
you say
so
for
much
yourself.
pressure.
Yeah.
That's so much pressure that I feel like, I don't feel like men are pressuring themselves to give it, but as women,
you guys have
women,
a different shake on that, for sure.
Right. It's so much pressure to, because people start not waiting for the one,
Right.
right? Like so much younger, and then you're just out here. And as we're talking about this, I'm thinking of like the different stages just in your story, right? Of like, to your point, your pastor, right? Who if you're in the faith and you submit your lives to, not that they are over your life, but that's a weighted statement to say, hey, I'm thinking about somebody for you, right? So the emotions of saying, I'm not ready, right? Then skip a year and a half and being like, hey, who was that? I'm whole now. They gone. Oh. Right? And so like, what were you thinking, like when you came back around to it and they were like, oh, you missed it? I mean, was it just like a fleeting thought, or were you like,
it was fleeting.
Dang. Oh, okay.
Because I didn't know. I didn't know her. I knew of her, but I didn't know her. So it was like, all right, well, whatever. Okay, cool. It's all,
That's
moved
okay.
on.
Yeah,
and then when she came back, it was like, oh, there she is. Okay, if the opportunity presents itself, I wasn't very for it until, like she said, people start approaching. It's like, okay.
So what did that look like when you approached her?
Oh,
Please tell the story.
The approach?
The
approach.
approach, yes.
Well, I don't have any game, I'm going to tell you. It's like, look, I need to find a reason. I needed a vehicle. So I knew around Christmas time, she baked these cookies, and she was getting our cookies. And I love cookies, and I bake, or at least used to. So I used that. I was like, oh, so you bake, what's up? I eat, and I get my bake on. So we need to have a bake off.
Ah.
Yeah. And,
He was actually
Okay, wait,
a
but
little
that was
smoother than he.
But is that
Okay,
weird?
sir, bake
Y'all
off.
didn't know each other, like didn't know each other, or
We
like we
knew.
go to church together, so
Yeah,
whatever.
we knew.
Okay.
Plus
Yeah,
there's
at this
chatter.
point, like,
chatter.
yeah,
Okay,
we
okay.
would say hi or whatever.
You hit her with the old bake off.
But what he did was
Here with the old
the old bake-off trick.
bake off. Got him.
But
Well
what
played,
he-
sir.
No, but he actually did it even smoother than that.
Yeah.
He texted me a photo of this this
the
cookie
recipe.
recipe, but he didn't
Recipe.
send the whole recipe. And so I was like,
I love
there's
that.
there's stuff missing here. And he's like, I don't know you like that. So I'm not going to give you the whole recipe. We have to make them together.
Yes, Keith.
Keith.
That's game,
Game.
bro.
Game
If
recognized
that ain't game.
in the Bay Bay.
Memory is a beautiful thing. I do recall that, but that happened after we had a conversation about the
Listen,
cookies.
gotcha.
But yeah,
I
no,
love this
that's
story.
Yeah.
I love this story. And Dee got to answer that, but to your younger self, being on this side of it,
It's a younger. Sorry.
what is there something that you would have? Because there are people who are in the similar space who are both just single and fine with that, and waiting intentionally. And in either of those spaces, you can feel, I imagine, some trepidation and some concern about clocks and time and what do we do and how do I avoid making a bad decision because of the time.
Yeah, that's a big one, especially if you're up there in age. I mean, you just have to trust God, man, and that's what I did. I mean, I wasn't in. Yes, I was waiting, but I wasn't in any rush because I'd seen others make mistakes, and I mean, really push it. And I was like, I'm not doing that. It's not that serious. I want to make sure this is, and I don't like using the term the one, but I want to make sure she is who you have for me. So,
Right.
you know.
And I think there's also a point about I'm waiting for the one. But I just want to let people know there's work in the wait. Right?
And,
This
even,
is
yeah,
a
and there's work in
proactive
the
way.
this is the one God has for you.
Right. There's
on
work
both sides. There's
either
no,
way
like,
you slice
magical
it,
sauce.
right? But like, can you recall? Do you feel like you were doing something? What happened? Like what changed? You know, I'm single. I'm waiting for the one. What's the difference in you? Like, what did you do different?
Can I go on that one?
Please
Just
go.
because I don't want to forget it. This is real deal. I just started going to Hope's house. I don't remember the year. And I want to say within a 3-week span. I mean, my mind was blown because this was a totally different church from where I'm from. But I guess the Tilios conference had gone on. And can I use names? No, I no need to use names. A gentleman that we all know was in that conference. And he was, I would say he was brought up through that or whatever. They formed this fellowship in there. And anyway, so he stood up during church and said all this stuff in Tilios, and everybody, woo, woo, and I'm like, oh, okay, what's all that? And then he proposed to his now wife, and I'm like, oh, probably said something a little colorful under my breath. It's like, oh, dude, I need that. That's what I need. And at that point, on the real, at that point, I went from being single to waiting. At times, waiting stupidly with my, but nonetheless, that was the.
But that's profound. It's the thing
realizing.
that you always say about men having space and opportunity to see something and then say, that's
Absolutely.
what I'm going to do.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm going to do.
That's great.
Yeah. For me, I struggled with identity. I struggled with being secure in who I was. And because of that, I made some mistakes in previous relationships, or I never felt like I could be myself. And so that was the work that I had to do. I had to become okay with who I was and celebrate who I was and who I was naturally. And before I could be in a place where I could be healthy enough to be in a relationship where I wasn't just trying to bend to his will or whatever. And I think when we first started dating, that's when I realized, oh, like I feel comfortable being me, and I can be as nerdy and weird as I want to be, and he's cool with that. Like, and I didn't feel judged in any way. And I think that's when I realized, okay, the work that I did to prepare myself for this was necessary in that season.
The work that she did to prepare herself.
Listen, guys,
Y'all better write that down.
I love it, man. Congratulations on getting the best of one another in the right time.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's good.
Thank you guys very much for sharing that with us, and I hope that folks who are in your previous space who are in that waiting, who are in that single place, can garnish some wisdom from what it looks like to go through the process fully and thoroughly, and not jump out too quick before you're done.
Before you're done,
So,
right.
yeah, thank you guys very much.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
Thanks for watching.
All marriage, all the time. I thought I forgot. Hey.